A shadow fell across the Ardennes. It was not the kind of shadow cast by the setting sun or the thick canopy of trees. This shadow was far more sinister, creeping into the hearts and minds of the people who called this region home. The once vibrant and lively forests now seemed to whisper secrets of terror and despair, not a natural shadow, but one of evil. It was as if the very essence of malevolence had taken root in the soil, spreading its dark tendrils through the underbrush and into the souls of the inhabitants. The sky itself seemed to darken in response, casting an eerie pall over the land. Whispers traveled on the wind, whispers of vanished girls. These were not just stories told to frighten children, but real accounts of young lives snuffed out too soon. The wind carried their names, their dreams, and their unfulfilled futures, haunting the living with every gust. Michel Fourniret. The name struck terror into the hearts of families. He was not just a man, but a symbol of the darkest fears that parents could imagine. His face, plastered across newspapers and television screens, became a grim reminder of the evil lurking in their midst. He was their nightmare made flesh, a predator who moved silently through the shadows, always watching, always waiting. His presence was felt even when he was not seen, a constant oppressive weight on the community. He blended in, an unassuming figure. To the casual observer, he was just another face in the crowd, a man who could easily be overlooked. But those who knew of his deeds understood that this facade of normalcy was his most dangerous weapon. But behind his eyes lurked a monster, a calculating, remorseless predator who took pleasure in the suffering of others. His gaze could pierce through the bravest of souls, leaving them paralyzed with fear. The Ardennes, once a place of serene beauty, became synonymous with dread. The lush greenery and tranquil paths were now tainted by the memories of his atrocities. Every rustle of leaves, every snap of a twig, was a reminder of the horrors that had unfolded here. Parents clutched their children closer. The fear was palpable, a living, breathing entity that wrapped itself around the community. No one felt safe, and every parent's worst nightmare seemed to be lurking just around the corner. Fear became a constant companion. It followed people to their homes, to their workplaces, and even into their dreams. The sense of security that once blanketed the region was now replaced by a pervasive sense of dread. No one knew who would be next. The uncertainty was the worst part, the not knowing when or where he would strike again. It was a game of psychological torment that he played with the entire community, keeping them on edge at all times. The Ogre of the Ardennes was hunting. He moved through the fog and shadows like a phantom, always just out of reach, always one step ahead. The people of the Ardennes could only wait and hope that they would not become his next prey. Michel Fourniret, born in Sedan in 1942, an unremarkable childhood, or so it seemed. He retreated into a world of fantasy, obsessed with violence and domination. The seeds of darkness were sown, marriage, children, a veneer of normalcy. But beneath the surface the monster stirred. Convictions for sexual assault marked his descent. Prison only fueled his rage, twisted his desires. He emerged ready to unleash his full, terrifying potential. Fourniret was cunning, a predator studying his prey. He targeted young girls, vulnerable and easily manipulated. He would often pose as a stranded motorist, his demeanor disarming. He played on their sympathies, lured them into his web of horror. He used his wife, Monique Olivier, as bait. She gained their trust, made them feel safe, a fatal mistake. Once trapped, the girls had no escape. The Ardennes became their tomb. Monique Olivier, a woman shrouded in mystery. Was she a victim or a willing accomplice? She met Fourniret while he was imprisoned. Drawn to his darkness, she became entangled in his web. She played a crucial role in his crimes, luring victims, disposing of evidence. Her silence enabled his reign of terror. But what drove her? Love, fear, or a shared thirst for evil? The answer remains elusive. Years passed, the body count rose, the authorities were baffled. Then, a breakthrough. In 2003, a 13-year-old girl escaped Fourniret's clutches. Her testimony sent shockwaves through the investigation. The net was closing in. Belgian police apprehended Fourniret and Olivier. The arrest sent a collective sigh of relief across France and Belgium. The nightmare, it seemed, was finally over. But the worst was yet to come. Fourniret's confessions chilled the hearts of hardened investigators. He detailed his crimes with chilling detachment. He led them to the bodies buried in the desolate woodlands of the Ardennes. Each grave a testament to his depravity. The details of his crimes were too horrific to comprehend: torture, rape, murder. His victims, young girls full of life, extinguished by his touch. The world recoiled in horror from the depths of his depravity. The trial was a media frenzy. The courthouse was surrounded by a sea of journalists, their cameras flashing incessantly, capturing every moment of the high-profile case. The public's interest was piqued, and the media fed on the sensational details of the crimes, creating a chaotic scene outside the courtroom. The world watched, transfixed and disgusted, as Fourniret's crimes were laid bare. The details were gruesome, and the audience in the courtroom could barely contain their horror. People watching the news from their homes were equally appalled, their faces reflecting the shock and disbelief that such evil could exist. He showed no remorse, his eyes cold and devoid of humanity. Throughout the trial, Fourniret remained emotionless, his icy stare sending chills down the spines of those present. His lack of empathy was evident, and it only added to the horror of his actions. He was sentenced to life in prison, his reign of terror finally at an end. The judge's gavel struck down, sealing his fate. The courtroom was somber as the verdict was delivered, a sense of relief mingled with the weight of the tragedy that had unfolded. But for the families of the victims, there would be no closure. Their daughters, their sisters, their friends, gone forever. The pain of their loss was palpable, and no sentence could ever bring back their loved ones. The courtroom was filled with the sound of sobs, as family members clung to each other, mourning the lives that had been cruelly taken from them. Their lives forever scarred by the Ogre of the Ardennes. The community came together to remember the victims, creating memorials and holding vigils in their honor. Flowers, photos and candles marked the sites where they were remembered, a testament to the impact they had on those who loved them. Justice had been served, but the pain remained. The courtroom, now empty, still held the echoes of the trial. The heavy atmosphere lingered, a reminder of the lives lost, and the families forever changed. While the legal system had done its part, the emotional scars would take much longer to heal. Despite his conviction, questions linger. Are there more victims, their bodies still hidden in the vast expanse of the Ardennes? Fourniret hinted at other crimes, his words dripping with malice. The authorities continue to search, haunted by the possibility that the full extent of his crimes may never be known. The shadow of doubt hangs heavy, a chilling reminder of the monster who walked among them. Michel Fourniret, the Ogre of the Ardennes. His name sends shivers down the spines of those who remember his heinous acts. A man whose very existence seemed to be a manifestation of pure evil. His name is etched in the annals of criminal history. Fourniret's reign of terror spanned decades, leaving a trail of devastation and heartbreak. His victims, forever memorialized, serve as a grim reminder of the atrocities he committed. His crimes, a stark reminder of the darkness that can lurk beneath the surface of humanity. The streets he once prowled now stand as silent witnesses to his malevolence. Each corner, each shadow, holds a story of fear and despair. He may be gone, but his legacy of terror lives on. The flickering candlelight in the darkness symbolizes the fragile hope that remains amidst the overwhelming dread. The forests, once serene, now echo with the whispers of his ghostly presence. The Ardennes, once a place of beauty and tranquility, now bears the weight of his crimes. The serene landscapes have transformed into haunting reminders of the past. The overgrown ruins of houses stand as monuments to the lives disrupted and destroyed by his actions. A chilling reminder that monsters are real. The masked figure in the shadows represents the ever-present threat that such individuals pose. The empty playground, once filled with laughter, now stands as a testament to the innocence lost. And sometimes they walk among us, hidden in plain sight. In the bustling city streets, amidst the crowd, they blend in seamlessly. The dark alleyways with their lurking shadows remind us that danger can be just around the corner, unseen and unsuspected.